Okay, students, this is Dr. Miller, and I'm going to go over a little bit of Twitter again. Part of it is because I do a lot of Twitter, and part of it is because Twitter is a social media channel that you can learn some of the principles about all social media channels by looking at what you're doing here. So, first of all, I've shared with you before, this portion of Twitter kind of gives you a snapshot in terms of how many tweets you've made, how many you are following, and how many are following you. And this is really the key thing with Twitter, is you want to get this built up. And it's taken me about 5 or 6 years of constantly putting content out on Twitter to get to this number of followers. It just doesn't happen quickly. And particularly when you don't advertise. If you pay for advertising, you can get more followers. Just like in Facebook, you get more likes if you pay for their advertising. So let's go over to this circle up here. And this is basically your account, and using the same image that you have down here in your profile image. But if we click on this and we come down, there's a couple of things I want to show you. One is lists. So if we open lists, this will tell you what lists that I am a member of and which lists I subscribe to. And to be honest, lists are maybe not as important as they once were, partly because advertising has become more important with Twitter. But you can create a list. Here's the way to do that over here. And if you click on this, you can just create a new name. And then what you have to do is you have to go and pull different Twitter accounts into your list. You add them to your list. So that's a way of kind of aggregating some of the material in a way, but it's actually really more of a way of kind of sharing different accounts that have a common purpose. So for example, here is a list that I created for community colleges. And what you're seeing here is you're seeing the feed of the tweets that are coming from all of these community colleges that I put into this list here. So that's the list function. Let's go back over here, and actually while we're still on this page, you should pay attention to this. This is a kind of a snapshot of your Twitter that you've done over the last 24 hours. Because I have so many followers, my tweets have created impressions, and that is views. In other words, people can see it. Over the last 24 hours, I've had 1,400 plus impressions where people have looked at the material. And it's kind of daunting if you've got a lot of followers and a lot of following, because you're dealing with big numbers. Now this is another thing here too, and this is useful because it's telling you where you're going to have the most traction in terms of time. The times that have the biggest impact are right here. And for this last group of tweets that I've sent out, I had 524 impressions between 1 and 3 o'clock on yesterday. So that's a pattern that I've seen before. The afternoon is actually a pretty good time for tweet. Most of the rest of this time is all pretty well down here, but from like 1 to 5 is typically when I get a lot more action on it. Okay, another thing that you'll find on the right hand side over here are suggested accounts that you could follow. And you know, I've got so many, I'm not really looking for more people to follow me, and I hope they do, but I hope they find me. I'm not going to go out and do this thing. But if you're just starting, this is a good thing, and you can definitely benefit by following other people, because sometimes they'll just follow you right back. And it's okay to add followers. Now, ironically, this is me again, but it's a different account that I set up for this class a couple of years ago, and it's still out there. But you can get rid of these, and new ones will show up. And they should have something to do with you, but it's a little bit mysterious as to how that happens. So let's go back up here under my profile, and let's go down to moments. I've got, let's go to moments. And moments are a relatively new thing in Twitter. And really what it is, it's similar to what Instagram and Facebook do with stories. And it basically it's just what you're doing in one period of time, normally a day. If I were going to maybe go to a conference and I'm seeing a bunch of different presentations, I might just start a moment's activity for that day, and then just as I tweet about the conference, they're kind of all gathered together. I don't use moments a lot, but here's one that I did last year, and it's just these are basically tweets that I did in one day related to reflection writing Arboretum and Nature Center. I was actually working out there in the marketing area last year, so that's why I created that. Another thing that we can look at with Twitter, and I can get back to my profile page by just clicking up under here, is to look at analytics. And this is really important right here. And as you're moving along in this class, because we have such a limited amount of time, really at the end of the term, you can just go to this page and get a lot of the material. You're going to need to provide essentially a report, or a kind of a portfolio, if you will, of what you've done in the class. And so this is a 4-week summary of what I've done. So I've tweeted 86 times, and I've had 39,000 impressions out there. And I've actually had 481 people check out my profile. Memories, because I don't do them. And then here's followers, and I'm up a little bit. This is actually a trend on followers, and you can see that. Now there are other tools that you can use for the analytics, but this one's right here in Twitter under your account home. And so here's like my top tweet for this 28-day period was this particular one right here. It's one of the educational ones that I've done. I can actually see a little bit more by clicking on that. And what I can see is that 21 people actually clicked through to the source of this material. And this is kind of what I'd like to happen for people that are interested in this lesson ideas, and they actually want to click on that shortened link. And then these are the hashtags. And remember, with hashtags, if you click on a hashtag, for example, on teaching, this is all the material that's coming along with all the people that I'm following in terms of teaching. And of course, I follow a lot of educational institutions, so there's quite a bit of that goes on. While we're talking about it, anywhere in your Twitter account, this top part here stays the same. And if I wanted to search, and I can put in a term, or I can put in a handle, or I can put in a hashtag. So let's just put in the hashtag Yeti. What I suggest you do in this is go down to the bottom here, and you're going to see all of the accounts that talk about Yetis. See how we have these different categories over here? I'm looking at the people right now. And of course, Yeti is a manufacturing company that makes camping materials, coolers, water bottles, different material for travel and things like that. And it's a really big deal, but it's not the right kind of Yeti. So here's kind of something related to Yetis that apparently is a movie. And so I could follow that, or I could go on down, and I can see there's a lot of people that are using the term Yeti for different things. So here's a Yeti thing, and here's Yeti Betty, and Yeti Farms, and okay, this is more like what I was looking for. Find the Yetis, and so if I wanted to follow that, I could do it. If I want to know more about it, I just click on it. So now I can see. One of the things it's going to tell you, is this a kind of a legitimate thing, is the number of tweets, the number that they are following, and the number of followers. So this seems like not really a heavyweight in this area, but a little of a validation that it's kind of a legitimate deal. Also over here now, who to follow. These should be somehow connected to Yeti, but they're probably going to be more connected to Yeti, the cooler people, than other kinds of Yetis. I can also do a search by hashtag Yeti, and that will give me a little different view. I can still look at people, and I will see a lot of the same ones we were just looking at, but it might be a little bit different. But I can also look at the top tweets with the term Yeti. You can ignore these two up at the top. Basically, these are probably paid to be up at the top. But if I start going down through here, now I don't know why these people are using the hashtag Yeti, but they are. But you can kind of get the idea on that, okay? And so you can also click on photos and see if anybody has submitted some photos and tag them with Yeti. And we can see that here's that company again. And well, here's a cartoon with a Yeti-like character on it. So you get the idea on that. There's also some news. And Yeti captured on video at ski resort. That sounds like the kind of Yeti I was looking at. But it's likely to be a hoax, of course. But you kind of get the idea. So that's a little help in terms of how you find things on Twitter, is just in this search box right up here. Now, let me go over here to notifications. Well, I'm going to go back to my profile here. But again, this doesn't change, okay? So what are notifications? Notifications are when you're having some form of interaction. And so here, for example, is somebody that liked a tweet. Here is liked tweet, liked tweet. Here's a retweet, okay? A retweet is when somebody, in this case, Nigel, who's a guy that I know strictly on social media, but he's an educator from Australia. And I posted an article that he wrote. And so he retweeted my post of his article. Here's another guy that has a great kind of enterprise called Ditch That Textbook. He's an educator, and he likes and retweets my material frequently. Now here's a new guy who is a new company rather that's followed us. Okay, so that's stuff that can help you with analytics. Remember also with TweetDeck, you've got the ability to see these notifications over here. They're just displayed a little differently. It's actually a little easier to see. And so blogging guru decided to follow me. Who's blogging guru? I can click on this and I can say, well, there's 6,000 tweets and they're following a lot of people, and they have even more followers, more than I have. And so that's pretty legitimate. They're from India. This is their URL right here. So if I wanted to get more depth about what they are, you'd want to go to their actual blog. And so here's stuff about how to earn money on blogs and things like that. So that's a little bit about Twitter and how you can use it and how you can use these different elements of it to help you out.